Welcome to Dropping the True Crime Tea, the podcast where we spill the darkest, most gripping stories from the world of true crime, with respect, curiosity, and a thirst for justice. I'm your host, Kirsty, bringing you the tea that's too hot to handle. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most chilling unsolved cases in recent history, the Long Island serial killer, also known as the Gilgo Beach killings. This case has it all. A string of mysterious deaths, a decades-long investigation, and a shocking breakthrough that's still unfolding. So, grab your tea, settle in, and let's unravel a story that's haunted Long Island for over a decade. Ready? Let's drop the tea. Picture this. It's December 2010, and a police officer is walking along Ocean Parkway, a quiet, windswept stretch of road on Long Island, New York. The air is cold, the dunes are desolate, and the officer is there for a routine search. They're looking for a missing woman named Shannan Gilbert, a 4-year-old escort who vanished 7 months earlier after a frantic 911 call. But what they find instead changes everything. In the thick brush hidden among the sand and scrub, they discover a set of human remains. Not Shannan's, but someone else's. And then, over the next few months, more bodies are found, 10 in total, maybe more. Women, a man, even a toddler, most of them wrapped in burlap, discarded like trash along this lonely highway. The media dubs it the Gilgo Beach killings, and the hunt begins for a serial killer who's been operating in plain sight. Who were these victims? Why were they targeted? And how did a killer get away with this for so long? Let's start at the beginning. The heart of this case lies with the victims, and we're going to honor them by telling their stories. Most of the women found along Ocean Parkway were young, in their 22nd, and worked as escorts, often advertising on sites like Craigslist. But they were so much more than their jobs. They were daughters, sisters, friends, and, in some cases, mothers. Take Melissa Bartholomew, a 24 years old from Buffalo, New York. She dreamed of being a hairstylist with a bright smile and a knack for making people laugh. Or Megan Waterman, a 22 years old mother from Maine who loved her daughter and was trying to build a better life. There was Maureen Barnes, 25, an aspiring poet with a fierce spirit. And Amber Costello, 27, who friends described as kind-hearted despite her struggles. These women, known as the Gilgo Four, were among the first identified, but there were others unidentified victims, like a young Asian man dressed in women's clothing and a toddler, possibly the child of one of the women. Their stories are less clear, their names still unknown, which makes this case even more heartbreaking. What tied many of these victims together was their vulnerability. They worked in a dangerous industry, often meeting clients alone, and when they went missing, their cases weren't always taken seriously. Families, like Melissa's, begged police to act, but were often brushed off because of the stigma around sex work. That stigma, that judgment, may have given the killer the cover they needed to keep killing. As we tell this story, let's remember, these were real people with dreams, fears, and loved ones. Their lives mattered, and their stories deserved to be heard. When the bodies were found in 2010 and 2011, the Suffolk County Police Department was under pressure. The media was calling it a serial killer case, and the public wanted answers. But the investigation got off to a rocky start. Early on, police faced criticism for how they handled missing persons reports for sex workers. Families felt ignored, and leads went cold. One key figure was Shannan Gilbert, the woman whose disappearance led to the discovery of the bodies. Shannan, a 24-year-old escort, was last seen in May 2000 in 10-inch Oak Beach, a gated community near Gilgo. She made a frantic 22-minute 911 call, saying someone was trying to hurt her, before she vanished. Her body was found in a marsh in December 2011, but police ruled her death an accidental drowning, not a murder. That ruling sparked outrage. Was Shannan a victim of the same killer, or was her death a tragic coincidence? We'll come back to that. Meanwhile, the investigation stalled. The police had few suspects, and the killer seemed to vanish. Some wondered if the killer was someone local, familiar with the isolated roads of Ocean Parkway. Others speculated about multiple killers, given the variety of victims. For years, the case went cold, leaving families in limbo and a community on edge. Fast forward to July 2023, and the case takes a dramatic turn. After years of silence, police arrest a suspect, Rex Heuermann, a 59 architect from Massapequa Park, Long Island. Heuermann wasn't a drifter or a loner. He was a married father of two, working in Manhattan with a seemingly normal life. But the evidence against him was chilling. Investigators used cutting-edge forensic tools like genetic genealogy and DNA analysis to zero in on Heuermann. A key piece of evidence? A pizza crust he threw away in a Manhattan trash can. DNA on that crust matched traces found on one of the victims. Add to that burner phone records showing calls to the victims and searches on Heuermann's computers for disturbing content, and the case started to come together. Heuermann was charged with the murders of the Gilgo Four, Melissa, Megan, Maureen, and Amber, and is a suspect in other deaths. He's pleaded not guilty, and his trial is ongoing as of July 2025. But the investigation hasn't stopped. In 2024, police searched Heuermann's home and nearby areas, looking for more evidence. Could he be linked to all the Gilgo Beach victims, or is there more to this story? Even with Heuermann's arrest, the Long Island serial killer case is far from solved. There are still so many questions. Who are the unidentified victims, like the toddler and the Asian male? Are they connected to Heuermann, or could there be another killer? Some experts point to differences in how the bodies were disposed of, suggesting multiple perpetrators. And then there's Shannan Gilbert. Her family insists she was murdered, not a victim of an accident. Could her case tie back to Heuermann, or is it a separate tragedy? The 911 call, where she sounded terrified, keeps that question alive. There's also the bigger picture. How did this go on for so long? The case exposed flaws in how police handle missing persons cases, especially for marginalized groups like sex workers. It's a reminder that justice isn't always equal, and that's a conversation we need to keep having. What do you think, listeners? Is Heuermann the only killer, or is there more to uncover? Drop us a message in the comments with your theories. The Long Island serial killer case isn't just a true crime story, it's a call to action. It's about giving a voice to the voiceless, like Melissa, Megan, Maureen, Amber, and the others whose names we may never know. It's about demanding better from our systems, whether it's police reform or protecting vulnerable communities. Books like Lost Girls by Robert Kolker and podcasts like Lisk. Long Island serial killer have kept this case alive, shining a light on the victim's humanity. But as true crime fans, we have a responsibility to tell these stories with care, to avoid sensationalizing pain. As the trial of Rex Heuermann continues, we'll keep watching, waiting for answers. Will justice be served? Will all the victims' stories be told? Only time will tell, but we'll be here, sipping our tea and digging for the truth. That's all for today's episode of Dropping the True Crime Tea. This case has left a mark on Long Island and beyond, and we're committed to following it as new details emerge. If you want to dive deeper, check out Lost Girls by Robert Kolker, or follow trial updates on reputable news sites. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think Rex Heuermann is the sole killer? Or is there more to this mystery? Share your take in the comments. And if you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. It helps us keep spilling the tea. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and keep your tea hot. This is Dropping the True Crime Tea, signing off.